Kérem vigyázzanak, az ajtók záródnak.
The taxi drew up outside a panel block, of the kind you could see all over the old East Block. On the street corner there was a telephone box. Perhaps it still worked. It seemed I had arrived back in the 1980s. So this was Prateruzza. I'd taken the flat sight unseen, agreeing with a friend of a friend over Facebook, because I needed a quick solution and a place that would accept me with my cat. The landlord was waiting for me by the phone booth. He'd brought a young Russian-speaking woman with him to translate for us, because he didn't speak much English and I spoke no Hungarian, but I did speak Russian. We went to the apartment. There was no need to use the tin can lift because the flat was on the first floor, behind barred windows. The flat was what the Hungarians call a 1.5. It had a living room, a galley kitchen, and a bedroom too small to count as a second room. It was more like a train compartment. The main room was stuffed with strange furniture. By the window, where I knew I would want to put a nice new IKEA desk, there was an elaborately carved church kneeler. To his credit, the landlord agreed to remove these antiques. Also to his credit, János, for that was the landlord's name, had fulfilled the one request I had made before arriving. I'd asked for a carpet to cover the bare floor, because I knew my cat Jack liked to sit on something warm. János had provided a small strip of pale blue carpet. It was just a rag, really, but it would be fine for Jack. And how lucky was I to have found a cat-tolerant landlord. "Curse him," I said, thanking him with one of the 3 Hungarian words I knew. The other 2 were "Jó napot," good day, and "Nem tudom," I don't know. I paid János in cash, and he left me to settle in. Now I was dog-tired and dying for a cup of tea, but although I had a church kneeler and a strip of cat carpet, when I went into the kitchen I discovered there was no kettle, just a battered little aluminium pan. OK, that would do if I could find some leaf tea. I opened a promising-looking box, but all it contained was some dusty fruit tea bags. This was the first inkling I got that Hungary was not a tea-drinking nation. I was hungry as well, so I decided to go out and look for something to eat. On my way out, I passed the neighbours, who shared the tiny balcony with me on the first floor. They were just coming in from work, a woman with dyed blonde hair and high boots, a man with a beer belly. The woman gave me a smile. Down the single flight of stairs, I came to the mailboxes. I knew the rules in Hungary, that your surname goes before your Christian name. So I put a little sticker on my new mailbox that said, Womack, Helen, and then I went out. Not far away, at the start of a smart, modern shopping precinct, was a branch of Lidl with a cornucopia of goodies. But I was too exhausted to make any interesting choices. I just grabbed a bag of frozen vegetables and headed for home. When I got back to my building, I noticed that someone had tinkered with my name on the mailbox. They'd used a black marker pen to make me Womack Helena. At first I was furious. How dare they change my name? But as I was heating up my peas and carrots in the aluminium pan, it dawned on me that this little intervention was perhaps a timid attempt to integrate me. I decided to see it that way. The kind Hungarians were taking me in, under their wing. The doorbell rang. Oh no, I thought. I opened the door to find a Jehovah's Witness standing outside. She began her spiel. I politely listened. When she paused for breath, I said, Nem tudom. She looked at me in horror and fled. So, it was going to be this easy, I thought to myself. Whenever the Hungarians got too friendly, all I needed to say was, Nem tudom, and they would leave me in peace to enjoy my English privacy.
This train terminates here. Goodbye.